It's an interesting time for business. Tariff and trade policies are dynamic, supply chains are squeezed, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you are in a little bit of hurt. So how do you get full visibility and adapt in real time? Over 42,000 businesses trust NetSuite by Oracle, your AI-powered business management suite. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for a reason. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. Real-time forecasting helps you move into the future with confidence, and with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. You spent months building towards launch day, but when the clock hits 0, your site crashes. Bots swarm, and loyal fans rage on Reddit. That's not good. Fanfare was built to stop that. Fanfare is the drop platform made for high-pressure moments, stampede-proof infrastructure, verified waitlists, and bot filters that actually work. Instead of refunds and rage, you get retention and revenue. And that sounds great to me. Your next launch shouldn't be a gamble. Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook and learn how to bulletproof your drop at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, that's fanfare.io/playbook. Congrats, your business is doing great. All your hard work is paying off, but you need help like now, and you have to hire fast. How can you hire amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. And with sponsored jobs, your posts jump to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love most about Indeed is that it has one of the largest databases of job seekers, giving employers access to a wide range of candidates. And with job alerts, I get notified when new candidates apply. And with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. So how fast? Well, in the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. This is a Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 72.
This is the Smart Passive Podcast in a titillus.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host, whose nickname in college was Flat Pin, Pat Flynn.
While DIY website tools are everywhere, most fall short on design and performance. Hit publish. Framer ships your site worldwide in seconds. No code, no compromises. Framer is a powerful, user-friendly platform that delivers developer-level results without writing a single line of code. Make your designs move and convert with Framer. Framer brings your site to life with powerful animations, dynamic content handling, and a design-first approach that helps your site stand out. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. Browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something of your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, scroll and looping animations, and much more in seconds. And it's free to start. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting of generating starter layouts and can even translate your entire site to any language. On the back end, you'll get responsive breakpoints, built-in hosting, a flexible CMS, and privacy-friendly analytics. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. With running your own business, legal questions always come with the territory. Like, can I use this contract or agreement? What do I do if a client doesn't pay? Am I even structured the right way for taxes? Instead of Googling your way through legal landmines, imagine having a law firm ready to address your business's legal needs without the sticker shock. That's what you get with Legal Shield's small business plans. Legal Shield helps entrepreneurs access real legal help on contract reviews, collection letters, business formation guidance, and even help navigating IRS audits. Members can schedule consultations, upload documents through the app, and get support from a provider law firm that knows small business laws in your state. Plus, consultations on taxes or trademarks help you stay ahead of potential problems. And if a client is late on a payment, Legal Shield steps in with professional collection letters so you can protect your hard-earned revenue, all for a fraction of the price of hiring a lawyer on your own. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Pat Flynn, and welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, session number 72. First of all, I just want to say thank you because you're awesome. And secondly, I'm just so excited about today's guest. She is amazing. Her business is in one of the most competitive and popular markets out there, but she's able to serve this market so well by really carving her way into a very particular space within this market. You know, she's found a very unique way to enter this market, and I think you're going to find that her and her story are very interesting, very educational, and very, very inspirational too. But before we get to the interview, I want to take a moment just to tell you, just please stick around to the end of this episode. I have a special announcement about something that I've been working on for a very, very long time. I want to take a moment here at the end to just talk about it really quick. And, of course, I don't want to take away from our guest, who is the most important part of the show right now. I'm really happy to welcome Andrea Olson to the show to talk about how she's made an impact in the parenting niche. Now, she's not a mom blogger. She's again doing some really, really interesting stuff to serve parents and really change their lives in a very unique way. So let's welcome Andrea Olson to the SPI podcast. Andrea, what's up? How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much for coming on the show. For everyone out there who doesn't know who you are and what you do, why don't you tell us what is it that you do and how'd you get there?
Well, I teach new parents of babies who are between 0 and 18 months, how to potty their babies. In other words, avoid potty training and avoid poopy diapers and avoid all the fun stuff to do with our usual way of doing things, and with something called elimination communication. And I run a site called GoDiaperFree.com that teaches people how to do this if they're not interested in doing full-time diapering.
0 to 18 months. Like you can quote potty train an infant.
Yes, they're actually born communicating very loudly that they don't want to go to the bathroom on you, in their pants, in this tight diaper, on their bed. And usually we can't figure it out until we try, oh, is he hungry? Is he cold? Is he, oh, his diaper's wet. Well, back up a few minutes and he was actually just trying to tell you, get this thing off of me. So it's based on that. It's a little bit more complex than that, but the gist of it is that cultures around the world don't use diapers, and this is the reason they don't have to. Well, they don't have them, but babies are also much smarter than we think they are.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that I know for sure. And it's just amazing sort of the implications behind something like this. I mean, not only are you helping parents, and, I know that diapers are a huge issue, and I have a 9-month-old, and she's still in diapers, of course, and so I'm very interested in this, but I'm also interested in what this can do for, you say other countries don't use diapers. I mean, imagine if everybody got into this, how much this would help the environment, or, just all that stuff.
Yeah, it goes really far, and there's a lot of different reasons parents do it, but one of the biggest ones for people is the landfill. Every year in the United States, I think there's 27 billion diapers landfilled, and they're full of what, and then they never have biodegraded yet. So the last 50 years, none of them have ever biodegraded. So it's the third largest landfill stream, waste stream, but there's also lots of other reasons that parents do it. It's a really cool practice.
So how did you get into this? How did you discover this, and why did you create a business out of it?
Well, years and years ago, I heard about somebody who wasn't using diapers and was pottying their baby. And I thought, oh my God, that's so weird. But I lived in California, so I was like, I'm going to do that mm-hmm. when I have a baby. And when I was pregnant, I started to do some research. And when I had my son, I caught his first number 2 in the potty, sort of by accident. And I was hooked because I've never been into changing diapers. So I had to start from reading a book. It was really complicated and really hard to understand, like reading text, especially any woman who listens to your show who's ever given birth. You're very foggy right after and you're very overwhelmed. So then a couple months later, I was in mommy yoga and everybody's asking me, why do you keep leaving the room? And I said, oh, I'm pottying my baby. And they said, well, how do you do that? I want to do that. And so I was going to make a pamphlet, just like a 5-pager. And I'm an overachiever, so it turned into a almost 200-page book and all these other things that I made to make it a visual multimedia learning experience, because that's what I would have liked to have had.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I mean, I find that's very common about how some people start their businesses. They sort of are sharing something that other people are interested in about what they do and sort of how they live their life. And so they create a resource to help not only their friends, but little do they know they're helping they could possibly help the entire world. And so how's business going right now? What's it like right now?
Business is going great. I just held my first International Awareness Week around it because people think, well, it was in the New York Times and all over the place. I was actually on Huffington Post. I couldn't believe it.
Wow, congrats.
All this press. Thank you. They didn't even interview me. They just mentioned me. And people around the world don't really know. They think that you're just pottying your baby in the street in between cars. So it has everybody's like, oh my God, that's disgusting. So part of what I'm doing right now is increasing awareness, and that's actually driving more people who are in that like 5-10% of parents who actually want to try this. I'm trying to make it a little more accessible. Business is going really well. My first full year of selling my book was last year, and I don't know if you want to share how much I sold last year.
Sure. I mean, we're all about transparency here, so the more you can share, the better.
A little over $45,000.
Wow.
And I've got over 2,000 readers internationally, so it's not a huge amount of people, but I sell it as a package, so it's between $30 and $40 a pop. And that was just my first full year. My conversion rate was about between 2.5% to 3.5%, which I've heard is really good. Mm-hmm. And mostly, though, I'm getting the people who are kind of interested to very interested. So a lot of my clientele is warm. And it just keeps growing. Word of mouth, parenting community is very much, oh my God, I tried this, you have to try it. And Facebook, Pinterest, all that's been really helpful.
Wow, this is great. Okay, so the book that you were selling for $30 to $40, that's the multimedia sort of 200-page pamphlet you created. Yes,
and I just was advised, one of the people I consult with is Naomi at IttyBiz, and she advised me to take everything out of the lower priced and package everything with the higher priced version. So I have the book only now, and then the book package that has everything: an audiobook, a private video library, a forum where I answer questions once a week, and a library of downloads. So it's all supplemental information for people. So they pay $7 more and they get all of that. I hardly have anybody buying the lower priced one now. So now I'm actually making more per sale. So this year should be better than last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great piece of advice. I mean, just sort of taking that little piece out, your book, and selling the book only at a specific price, that sort of sets the sort of base price. And then they can see how much more they can get for only $7. I mean, people will be crazy not to get that.
They would be. And then I offer an upgrade later on, a couple days or weeks later. I have my virtual assistant in the Philippines, and she writes people and says, hey, do you want to upgrade? I noticed you got the book only, because there's a small handful of people who do get the cheaper one. Mm-hmm. And then they have to pay a little extra to get it. So it's taken me literally 2 years to get my pricing right. I started out way lower like you did with your lead exam, mm-hmm. and then ended up at a spot where people see it as really valuable, and it's like less than a month's worth of diapers. So if you put it in context, it's actually a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's another great tip, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And the way that you're presenting it, is reflective of the industry that you're in. How many diapers can you save? How much money can you save from spending diapers on, just spending something like this, which could potentially save you a lot more down the road. A lot of people in internet marketing compare, for like monthly membership type things, they say, for a cup of coffee a day you can do this, and that's really smart, but I think you're taking it a step further and applying it directly to what it is that you're talking about. So that's really cool. What were some of the big challenges you had when you started out? So you had this pamphlet, you created it for like your friends, and they enjoyed it. What were sort of your first moves to put it online, and what did you find the most challenging?
Well, the most challenging was being a first-time mom of a 5-month-old. I started writing my book when he was 5 months old. Finding the time, I actually had to make myself spend 3 hours a day at minimum writing and outlining. And I actually used your eBooks the Smart Way, as an example, as a template. Yeah, because I knew we had different markets, and I knew you always say just to use whatever of yours we want. So I did. And that helped me a little bit because it gave me something to put it all in. But in the beginning, so time was a big deal. I was breastfeeding. So from 5 to 12 months old, I wrote my book for 7 months, and my son would be brought into me every hour or two during the writing process. So it's very, very challenging. I think that what helped, I never actually put out the pamphlet. So I started collecting names, and I put up a website with just a newsletter collection form to sort of get people who were interested to come. But the biggest thing that I did while I was writing is I started to help people on private listservs. Yahoo groups were very big a couple years ago. Now Facebook has taken over, but I just started giving free advice and putting a link to my website below everything I posted. So I started to get to know my community a little bit better and started giving free help.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. And, that's a big model that I take is, just giving away as much as you can. And people are going to be interested in what you have to say, and they're going to want to learn more. And I think you're very smart of capturing those emails right away. Now, I want to go back to time really quick, because that's a big thing for everyone. I know a lot of people struggle with trying to find time to do stuff. And you had a 5-month-old, and you were writing a book, dedicating 3 hours a day, which, I mean, I feel like I need that much time in order to make any headway in my book writing process as well. How did you keep going? I mean, a lot of people would just said, oh, well, I'm going to wait till my kid's older to do this. I mean, what motivated you, and what actually got you through your book?
Well, my son's father and my partner at the time had quit his job, so I didn't have a choice. I felt like if I didn't write this and start to create some kind of income for our family, we weren't going to have any. So there was a lot of real pressure, We luckily had a friend's place we could stay at for free for 6 months too. So that was having a deadline is so important, but that was a very real deadline.
Yeah.
I'd also already read The 4-Hour Workweek and had already begun listening to your podcast. I think January 2011, you were on like number 10. And so I listened from the beginning and just started to get ideas about what's the best way to do this. I did a lot of planning for my website ahead of time and for my marketing plan ahead of time. When I was stumped on the writing process, I would just draw on my mirrored closet with a dry erase marker and just draw stuff out, and did a lot of mind mapping. But I used the 4-Hour Workweek to really stay focused and to get, honestly, emails was my biggest thing. All these things would distract me, but the biggest thing was emails. And so I would really discipline myself, and I had to do it for my family. So I didn't have a choice. Had I had another job instead of a kid, it probably would be the same thing. I mean, I saw it as having 2 full-time jobs all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when it comes to marketing your site, you said that at first you were going to these different groups and you were sharing information for free, and you were getting people to come back. Has that been the only way that you've been sort of driving traffic back to your site, or is there anything else?
Well, I actually figured out, and this is a good thing for everybody who has a niche site to do, if you're actually a subject matter expert and that's the angle you're going at, find out which organization or organizations is the authority in the field. There's one called diaperfreebaby.org in my field, and I got them to endorse my book. So I had them read drafts of it, give me feedback. They certified me as a mentor in their program. So I really position myself as an expert. And marketing-wise, they put me on the homepage of their site, and they rank number 1 in Google for the terms I go for.
Nice.
That was really important for marketing. It's just, again, word of mouth, parenting field. It's kind of hard to enter it. It's really you have to have trust, built-in trust. So I went for that angle. I did a lot of homegrown networking, finding out who is in related fields, and I signed them up as affiliates for my book. And then I also referred people to that. I found clothing companies that served my niche. So I found a lot of people to team up with, kind of like what you do. And I also, Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and all of that, I've just been using those to try to be part of the community. But honestly, that's a challenge for me because I get stuck in it. It's very time consuming. So what I did early on is I hired a VA, like I mentioned. And this was when I didn't really have enough money to have a VA yet, a virtual assistant. But I did it anyway because I knew if she could do the customer service stuff, I could focus on marketing. And I started to expand out to commenting on blogs. So she finds me blog posts to comment on. She finds me forum posts to comment on. I usually audio record an answer, upload it to Evernote. She has it. She transcribes my little messages. And so I'm able to be more places because I have my VA.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so find these these blog posts. She finds them to potentially comment on, and then you actually look at them and leave a comment, but you don't write it in. You just quickly, say it in your Evernote, and then she takes that, transcribes it, and posts it for you.
Exactly, and I actually use QuickTime Player. Has a very simple recording thing. I can drag and drop it on my Mac right into Evernote. Underneath each link that she puts, she does 5 a week of each. And she only picks the ones that are, we go through it and we revise it all the time. So she finds out, where is my niche already? The new parents, the pregnant people, where are they hanging out? And what's the easiest way, where can we get a signature line in a forum post and we're allowed to put our link in our signature line? Or get a business account for them, or which blogs follow. All that stuff. So we did a lot of, and we're constantly tweaking it and trying to find, I actually have done a few giveaways on very popular parenting sites because I've been an active commenter on their site. And this is something you recommend to do. I did it and people want to help you.
Yeah, definitely. I remember that there's a guy named Oni who commented on my blog quite a bit back in the day, and I got to know him through the comments that he left, and they were really high-end comments on almost every single post, and I would almost expect him to comment, and I welcomed it because they were really good comments. And so what that did was, when he actually came to me to write a guest post, I already knew who he was. We sort of had this relationship already, again, just through the blog comments. And, I let him guest post on the site, which I don't normally do. So, I think that's really strong. I love the way that you're utilizing your time even more by having your VA sort of just doing the actual commenting, but using your words based off of sort of a voice, recording. I think that's really smart. And that you just think about how useful those links can potentially be, and how more so those relationships that you create through those blog comments can potentially be. That's just really smart, and you're targeting more as a result of doing that in the way that you're doing it. So that's really cool. I don't know where you learned that from. That definitely wasn't from me.
It was on something that a guy named Pete Williams had up for some free webinar. I try not to do too much training and not get too sucked into how to internet market. But he had a really good tip somewhere on one of his sites, and that's where I stole it from him. But I do have to say also, YouTube has been a really big driver of traffic as well. I put out a couple of how-to videos that were better than any of the other ones out there. And I put my link in it like you do on yours as well. And people come there and they're even more qualified. So I'm trying to get not just traffic, but really qualified traffic. So the blog commenting, the forum commenting, the YouTube channel, all of my affiliates, all of the networking that I've done, and just really starting from a grassroots place. But I also had a plan. And I think that I try to do the things that make cash so that I can keep going as a first priority, and really watch my time. So if I get those things done, then I can go out there and sort of spread the word more. So I do sales. I market to my newsletter list. It's invaluable. I do things sort of, I'm developing formulas for things, because after you do it for so long, you start to understand what works and what doesn't. And as long as I just don't screw around and waste my time, which I can't because I have kids, it seems to be that I'm learning. And I'm learning my way in my unique niche. So it's really important to not just copy everybody else for me, I sort of take the lead from people like you and then modify it to work for who I'm working with.
Yeah.
And how I work. So it's working.
I mean, that's the same approach I took. I saw who were doing things successfully when I first started, and I sort of took their lead, but put my own spin on it. So that's really, really awesome. I mean, you are everywhere in everywhere you need to be. You're on YouTube, and that makes total sense for your particular niche. You are on these sort of bigger brand sites who are ranking on number one, which you wouldn't be able to do on your own. So instead of putting your own site there, why don't you put yourself on those sites? I mean, I think that's genius. And not every niche is going to allow you to do that, of course, but that might be a good opportunity for some people out there who have niche sites to sort of get to number one. It's just not your site, but it's someone else's site who is linking to you. And I think that's really cool. You said that, in regards to that, you teamed up with a lot of these bigger companies. How did you get in contact with them? Was it through email, or did you call them or meet them in person at conferences? Like, how did that work?
Well, I actually emailed. They're not huge companies. They're really mom and pop. Everything's work at home moms. WHAHM. It's the acronym. Mm-hmm. Everybody on the first page of Google for my site, besides Wikipedia, which actually I got on it anyway by contributing to Wikipedia to the articles. So my link is there anyway. My goal was to get a link from all the people on the first couple pages of Google for my search term. So what I would do, actually I had my VA look through their sites, see if there's a contact form, see if there's anything they need, any gaps in information. Maybe they need an article written, something like that. But most of the time we just emailed them. And she gathered the email addresses for me and the best way to contact and what their names are, and a little bit of information of what I might need to know. And then I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm trying to do the same thing you're trying to do. I'm trying to extend the reach of EC. Everybody benefits from that, So I have this new book. Would you like a free copy? Would you like to review it? Would you mind linking to me as a resource for your readers? And I got a lot of testimonials this way. I got a lot of good reviews. And then I got lots of valuable links, which is the most important thing. The people on the first page are linking to me. So it helped rankings for sure.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, when it comes to your specific audience, how important is the relationship you have with them for your business?
It's essential. I have a private forum that I post on once a week, and I answer people's questions. The reason I did this is so I didn't have to do email support at all. Mm-hmm. Everything I've ever answered is on this forum, but people also, my reputation extends through all of them to all of the other people. So in my niche, it's the most important thing is how people are treated.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very common for a lot of niches out there, and so if you're potentially thinking about getting into the parenting niche, which I know is a very popular sort of expansive niche where anybody can sort of choose any sort of segment of that, I think it's, like you said, really important to just understand that if you're going to be talking about stuff related to parents or kids or parenthood and things like that, you need that relationship. I mean, people aren't just going to read anybody, and they're not going to buy from anybody. So it's just hard to come, it's hard to come at this without taking the approach of, knowing that you're going to have to do what you can to actually build a real relationship with the people in your audience. And that, it just sounds like because of that, you have your sort of true 1,000 fans who would be upset if you weren't there anymore. I mean, that's kind of how you want to approach it. You want to build a resource where you can, if you weren't there anymore, people would be upset.
Yeah, and I think with the EC niche specifically, the one that I serve is so, if you give, for instance, there's only 4 other books written on the topic. If you were to just take information from those books and then make a niche site out of that, you would royally fail because all of that is already outdated. Like everything that I'm doing is so cutting edge with my forum. I'm learning from them every day. I'm publishing new stuff all the time. If you enter and then screw up a bunch of kids, you're out of there. I mean, you're going to be booted first thing and you're going to get this horrible reputation. It's really important to know what you're talking about, but also to be actively researching because parenting is a dynamic field and all the little niches in it are they're moved. It's like a moving target. So if you're not authentically genuine and this isn't your original idea, you're probably not going to be as successful as if you really have a passion for something and knowledge about it.
Right. And that's something you obviously had when you first started.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who is thinking about getting into any niche really, and they don't necessarily feel like they're that much of an expert? Maybe they've found it through keyword research, or maybe it's something that they're interested in, but there are other people out there doing it much better than them. What would you say to them? Should they even attempt to do it, or should they find something else?
They should definitely try it. I think, if I could do it with a 5-month-old, anybody listening can do it no matter what their situation is. It just depends on, what are you interested in? What do you already have some experience in? And then what I did with my book first, I didn't know everything and I didn't have personal experience except for my own baby. I wrote it like that. I said that right in the beginning of the book and on my sales page. I'm not an expert at this, but I have gathered all the best information from everywhere and from all the listservs and everything, what's working right now. And this is the best that's out there yet. So I made the best resource without having to be an expert yet. And then over the couple of years of helping people personally, I started to be able to develop my own ideas about it and what things to recommend against and for. So I became the expert. So I think if anybody who's listening is interested and can gather information and present it well, and then is interested in continuing to learn about it and improving their products, then they can be just one step ahead of their audience and really be beneficial to others.
Awesome. That's fantastic advice. Now, Andrea, something that I've been thinking about after we've been talking for a little bit is, as a parent myself, when we first talked over email about what you do, I was like, really? Like, this can happen? Like what you teach people? Like, I just almost sort of didn't believe it. And I'm sure a lot of other parents out there and people who are in your target audience might feel the same way. How do you, and what do you do to almost convince people that, this is real and that also they can do it too?
That's a really good question. I actually had to be on the radio. I got invited to be on radio shows. I was nervous. One of them is 6 a.m, and I'm pregnant with my second kid, so I'm not a morning person right now. I had to prepare for a 3-minute spot on explaining, and I had to convince the hosts in 3 minutes about EC. And what I don't do is, and anybody who has an odd niche, is I don't focus on what's weird about it or how everybody might think it's weird, because that's a given. Mm-hmm. But what I do is just say, let's put this into context. Over half the world's children are potty trained by 1-year-old. In the United States, it's 3 years. There is a different way to do this. If you're interested, no matter what lifestyle you have, you can, go to my website and check it out and learn. And then if you want to try it, I've got the best resource there is on trying it. And then after you try it, you'll probably love it. It's not for everybody, but that's sort of the naysayers. I don't care if they come and go to my site. They actually don't really come to my site. The people who really want to learn about it and try it out do. So I am not in the business of converting people. I'm in the business of, hey, this other option exists. And if you hate changing diapers, 0 to 3 years plus, I have a resource, either mine or my friend's book I sell on my site now. And it's really cool because it just sort of leaves it open. Like, I look at the problem. People hate changing diapers. They hate it. I mean, I don't know anybody who loves it. If they say they do, they're lying. Maybe it's because it's convenient, but you really don't like it if you're paying attention. And I've started to reorient to that. I don't need to tell you that this is the best thing in the world. You just gauge how much you like changing diapers. And if you don't like it very much, then you might want to look into this. And then I say, go to godiaperfree.com and you can learn. And it's not like I grew up in Texas. It was very Bible Belt. Lots of evangelists. Mm-hmm. I can't be an evangelist in my field. It turns people off. So
wow,
that's what I say.
I mean, that right there is fantastic advice. I mean, everything you said from, not trying to convince people, but just making comparisons of stuff that they may already be doing and asking them, hey, well, if you're interested or if this is something you want to try, not you should do this or you are bad for doing diapers. This is just, hey, this is the other option. It's not for everybody. And I love how you said that, because a problem that too many people try to do with their websites is they try to convince everybody. And that's not what it should be about. It should be, helping the people who are just in tune with everything you have to say, or excited about it, or want to at least give it a shot, not trying to convince everybody in the single world. That's just fantastic. I love how you were sort of almost forced to figure that out because you had a 3-minute spot on a radio show.
I did. And in fact, it's going to be part of my first podcast. I'm launching a podcast within the next few weeks. I've got the first 5 of them ready.
Awesome.
And I followed your stuff. Again, I mean, I'm not here to just toot your horn.
Yeah,
but
that's why I have you on, just to.
That's awesome. Well, you are, and you make it very easy if you want to know the information. It's the same thing I just described, but I learned how to do the podcast through your video series, and my first one I'm putting in that 3-minute spot because it's the thing that gets people. Okay, do I really want to listen to this podcast or not? And really, when I bring in the rest of the world and I just ask a couple questions that get people thinking, then they're like, wait a second. Oh yeah, this isn't how life has always been for hundreds of thousands of years. Mm-hmm. So it's like using these benign statistics can really help, and probably a lot of niches, just to put it in perspective. It's this roundabout way, because you don't want to force people that people won't stick around.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I feel like a good challenge for all the listeners out there right now is to sort of figure out, well, what is your 3-minute spot sound like? Like, imagine you're called on the radio to talk about whatever it is your website's about. What does that 3 minutes sound like? And it's got to be really good stuff. And exactly, if you can hone in on that, that'll sort of drive every other message that you say on your website, or any sort of marketing material that you might have in the future, from ads to just in-person conversations.
Yeah, and it can change over time, and it should. It can just get better and better and better.
I love that. Now, finishing up here, Andrea, just thank you so much for your time. This is very inspirational. I love hearing stuff like this. What are maybe 1 or 2 other pieces of advice you have for people out there who are just starting out and they're struggling, and they might not have enough time, or they might not feel like they have enough time, or they might feel like they're just not being heard very much? What would you say to them?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I've been there. Just keep trying to create the best thing that you can in the ways that you're best. So I like to draw things on giant pieces of paper, and when I get to a sticking point, I just go to that. Go to whatever gets your juices flowing, and keep going back there, and then eventually something will come forth that'd be like, okay, this is what I need to focus on. But what I would say is just schedule time, either every day or every week, that is your time to work on this particular project. And if you don't have any small, doable to-do lists, steps, very specific steps that you can follow yet, then just brainstorm, mind map, be creative, just sketch things out, and really just stay with it in whatever way it comes out. And eventually you will start seeing the steps, and then write them down and make them doable, and just start whittling away. And I think the most important point of that whole thing is making that time, carving away that time, get somebody to watch your kids if you have them, turn off the internet, the email, the cell phone, everything, get an actual pencil and a piece of paper, and devote that time to your project. Let it be whatever it is, but don't ever stop meeting with yourself on it. Just keep going, and eventually something will come out of it, and it won't look like anybody else's. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Hey, Andrea, thank you so much for your time and the inspiration. And, I know I speak for everyone else listening. We wish you all the best. And, you're making, you're doing incredible already. And I can just only imagine things getting much better from this point forward. Just to remind people once again, where can they find your business, and where can they sort of get in contact with you if they wanted to?
You can find me at godiaperfree.com. I'm also at AndreaOlson.com, OLSON. And that shows my overall projects and everything else I might be up to if you want to sort of stalk me and find out. But godiaperfree.com. I'm at Andrea at godiaperfree.com. I'm happy to answer any questions based on my experience. Happy to help people. I just want everybody to be successful in what they love.
Awesome. You are awesome. Thank you, Andrea, so much. And we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Pat.
All right, thanks. All right, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Andrea Olson from godiaperfree.com. Definitely a really unique niche to get into, of course, and I think she's doing such amazing work, really connecting with parents and really changing their lives, which is really what we should all be trying to do with our target audience. And she's definitely solving a particular pain that the parenting niche has. So well done, Andrea. I mean, just congratulations. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing. Again, you can find her at godiaperfree.com. Now, before I get into that special announcement that I talked about at the beginning of the episode, I just wanted to bring on a voicemail that, we missed a voicemail in the last episode because the episode went so long, but I want to bring one back. And so I'm going to answer a question really quick. This week's question is from Jay Hiller, and you'll actually hear that he has a little bit in common with me, which is pretty interesting. He's asking about interviews and how to conduct interviews, and that sound good. So let's get to Jay's question.
Hi, Pat. My name is Jay Hiller. I've been following you for some time. Great job with your podcast and your website. I've got a little bit in common with you. I studied architecture at the University of Arizona in Tucson, and I was also laid off a position, not from architecture, a couple of years ago. So I'm into the personal development field. I have a website called confidencemindset.com. I'm into developing a strong mindset and developing confidence in people, mainly our youth. I'm interested in doing interviews, and my question for you is, what do you find that works best in producing interviews? The equipment, is it a phone call, the recording devices, that kind of thing? Your quality is great on your interviews with people in your podcast. So if you could give us some tips on what you use and what works for you, that would be great. And I will continue to follow. Thanks so much. Great hearing from you. Great job on your podcast, and look forward to more. Hope you and your family have an awesome day. I'll check back with you later. Bye for now.
Hey, thanks so much for the question, Jay. And I think it's just really important to talk to everyone really quick about the importance and how awesome it is to do interviews. Not only is it a great way to just get additional content for your site and your brand, content that you wouldn't normally be able to do yourself, but it's a great way to connect with other people too. I've really became friends with a lot of people that I've interviewed as well. And, for everybody out there, I would encourage you to do more interviews. And of course, when you think about it, you're not actually creating content, but you do have to ask the right questions. Now, Jay, when it comes to the actual equipment that I use, the interviews that I conduct here on the Smart Passive Income blog are typically done over Skype. So we're using Skype to communicate. I have Skype, and the person I'm interviewing typically will have Skype, and that helps with the audio quality quite a bit. And in order to record that, I use a tool called Call Recorder for Mac. If you're on a PC, there's one, I believe, that is called Pamela for Skype. But I'll put the show notes, or I'll put the links in the show notes, so you can go to smartpassiveincome.com/session72 and see links to all these things and all the other links mentioned on this show. But if you're not using Skype, well, first of all, if you're using Skype, it's very common that the other person may not have Skype. So what I do is I actually call that person on Skype so that I can make sure that at least during the interview I sound good, because that will help it go a long way. People who are listening to interviews sort of understand that, a lot of times the person on the other end isn't going to have the best quality. So at least if you have good quality, you're using your good mic, you're on your computer, and you're on Skype, that will work. And if the other person sounds like they're on a phone, well, that's okay, because it's an interview and it's going back and forth. So you can still record using Call Recorder for Mac or that other tool. if you dial in, you can actually dial like a landline or a cell phone number from your Skype, which is what I do when the other person is not using Skype. Now, if I'm doing an interview in person, there's some really cool digital recorders that you can use, some high-end audio recorders, digital audio recorders. I know my buddy Cliff Ravenscraft recommends one called the Roland R-05 digital audio recorder. If you go to podcastanswerman.com/R05, you'll see how he uses that. I use one called the Zoom H4n, and it's another digital audio recorder. And what's nice about that is that it records really, really great audio. You can use it just like a mic and sort of point it at the person's, toward the person's voice when they're speaking, going back and forth between you and the other person. Or you can actually input external microphones, lapel mics or handheld mics into those different audio recorders that I just mentioned, and the audio quality will be great as well. And then you just save it onto a little flash disk there, which you pop into those audio recorders, and you pop it into your computer, and it's an MP3 file, and it sounds awesome, or a WAV file, or however you have it in the settings. So those are the tools that I use or would recommend using. Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's very useful for everybody. So thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. And for everybody else out there, again, if you have a question for me, please, a voicemail question, you can actually go to speakpipe.com/PatFlynn and leave me your voicemail there. I'm going to be doing this after every episode, of course, mostly, and I'm also going to be doing episodes that are completely dedicated to answering your questions via voicemail, or the questions that come in by voicemail. It's going to be really cool. I think potentially the next episode will be that, but we'll see. And lastly, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I have that really special announcement, and that announcement is the following. I'm really happy to talk about my first product for smartpassiveincome.com. I know a lot of people for a few years now have been just asking me, like, Pat, when's your first product coming out? When are you finally going to come out with something? And, I didn't want to force one out there just because I could and just because I knew it would sell. I didn't want to do that to my audience. I didn't want to take advantage of them just because I knew I could earn money, because that trust is worth so much more to me. The thing is, I've always had this idea for a product in the back of my mind. And after talking about it with a few members of my mastermind groups, they were like, Pat, if you don't do this, you're doing your audience a disfavor. And that really changed my focus and drove me to really actually do this. Now, there are a lot of courses out there that talk about how to start a business and how to start a blog already. And many of them are fantastic. I mean, I've recommended them to my audience before because I've gone through them myself and I trust the owners and I'm not afraid to put my name next to them. But, when I was actually thinking about the true pains and struggles of people starting a blog, stuff that I went through, stuff that I know people in my audience are going through, I discovered that, starting isn't the issue. It's actually keeping a blog alive and thriving and growing. So that's why I started to spend time a few months ago to really put this course together, and I'm calling it Breakthrough Blogging. And I call it that because of the way it's structured. It's video lessons that tackle all the different kinds of barriers that all bloggers and business owners will come across and must break through during their journey in order to make any progress at all. From mental barriers like how to deal with being overwhelmed and how to keep going when the results just aren't there yet, to time and productivity barriers like how to get more time when you don't seem like you have any, and how to stay focused on one thing at a time. Then there are, of course, technological barriers that we all face, and barriers that other people put on us that try to stop us from moving forward. Knowledge barriers, what you know versus what you don't. Growth barriers, like when you're not getting much traffic or email subscribers. Just everything that bloggers will face during the journey, because I've gone through them too, and luckily I've kept going. But I know a lot of people stop, and it's unfortunate because it's often right before something awesome happens. It seems like just everything in the world is working against us to succeed, and Breakthrough Blogging is trying to help you break through that stigma. Now, the launch of Breakthrough Blogging will actually be Monday, July 1st, and it'll be a part of the next 3-day Only 72 sale. That's a company. That's why it's called Only 72. It's 3 days, so 72 hours. So what that means is starting July 1st, Breakthrough Blogging will actually be one of the several, actually 5 or 6 different courses and products you can get in this next Only 72 bundle, which is actually built around the theme of Be Everywhere. What Only 72 does is it handpicks products and courses from experts and bundles them together for a really discounted price. And I chose to include Breakthrough Blogging in the sale because I wanted those who picked it up to get some incredible value for their purchase. So not only my course, but a lot of other expert courses as well. But also because I'm actually a partner at Only 72. I don't know if you knew that, but I partnered with my buddy Adam Baker and Rick Moridi to create something awesome here. And, Only 72 has been around for a while, so this is the first time I've been a part of this sale, and I really wanted to change things up and make things awesome. Now, to check out the next sale, you can go to breakthroughblogging.net. So go to breakthroughblogging.net. That'll redirect you to the sale. And the best part of Breakthrough Blogging is that it's something that's going to be forever growing. There are a certain number of videos in there now, but I'm going to add more, like a lot more. I'm setting up a studio where I'm going to be shooting video like crazy, and I'm just going to be answering people's questions and talking about your struggles. You're going to be influencing where this particular course goes, and it's going to be forever growing, and it's just going to be a great community of people so you're not alone in this. We're all going to help you during the journey. So yeah, check out the trailer video at breakthroughblogging.net. I'm actually in it. Breakthroughblogging.net redirects you to the Only 72 sale currently, and you'll see that trailer there. I'm in it. A lot of you know I went up to Portland for like a day. Like I went up, flew up, came back down the same day. That's what it was for, to shoot that trailer. And yeah, I'm really proud of this. So sign up to the email list there to get notified of the sale this coming Monday. Again, breakthroughblogging.net. What happens is after 72 hours, the sale will be over. Enrollment into Breakthrough Blogging will be closed. If you're at all interested, make sure you sign up to get the discounted price now, along with the other products in the bundle, because those of you who are in will be grandfathered in when it reopens later this year. And that won't include those other products. And, if you're grandfathered in, you won't have to worry about what the payment structure will be like, which I don't even know yet. So yeah, if you're listening to this in the future, you can still go to breakthroughblogging.net, and that will redirect you to wherever you need to go. So guys, thank you so much for letting me talk about this with you. I'm really proud of it. Some of you might be surprised because, I don't, generally you don't hear me pitch anything. But the thing is, and this is something I've learned from watching other people who have had an impact on my life, and this is where people seem to miss a step sometimes. You don't want to be pitching all the time. You don't want to be pitching everything under the sun. But when you have something that will help people, you better make sure you tell people about it. And so for those of you out there, I know you have stuff. Maybe you don't have a product yet, but I know there's one in you. And when you make it happen, you got to really make sure you tell people about it. And there are, of course, good ways to tell people about it and not so good ways. And hopefully, based on my experience in this industry in the past, I've shared it with you in a good way. Now, you can get the show notes again at smartpassiveincome.com/session72. And, ask any questions about that. And definitely make sure to give Andrea a big shout out because she's just provided so much great information. Just thank you. And, it's kind of cool that this is session number 72 and Breakthrough Blogging is going to be a part of the Only 72 sale. Kind of crazy, right? Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you so much. I just wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
I get it. You want to grow your business, but selling at scale feels overwhelming. You're drowning in complicated funnels, creating different lead magnets, or constantly posting on social media. And that gets exhausting fast, especially when you're trying to sell to hundreds or thousands of people. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? A score app quiz or assessment asks your audience key questions and gives them instant personalized results based on their answers. Your audience gets to know where they are now and shows them the steps they need to hit their goals. You can set up a quiz in minutes using Score App's templates and have a powerful lead magnet that'll do the selling for you. The best part is your audience actually wants to take this quiz, and you build huge amounts of trust before you even make a single offer. No hard sales, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. Just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground: legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands.